All right, so I'm going to make it abundantly clear. I'm not here defending Diddy. I am here because I got dragged into this because somebody asked me a question and I had an opinion. Nobody's wrong for giving an opinion about any subject, period. I'm not here defending Diddy. Don't let the narrative fool you or get to you. Once again, somebody's creating narratives. This is my point. So please look at the whole clip that I did and then look what happens with the narrative. And that's what I'm telling you. Y'all people don't be sheep. Use your brain, use your freedom of thought, freedom of speech, and don't ever let nobody bully you.
Diddy just sparked a massive online fire aimed squarely at 50 Cent, and things are escalating faster than anyone expected. This isn't an exaggeration. Christian Combs openly declared that if he ever crosses paths with 50, he wouldn't hesitate to get physical. That alone sent shockwaves throughout social media. But that's just scratching the surface. Fans are now claiming that several high-profile figures are allegedly working behind the scenes to shut down 50 after his Netflix documentary dropped. According to Chatter Online, and it's hard to ignore, the names being whispered are truly jaw-dropping. This isn't just typical online drama anymore. The situation has intensified, and 50 is now facing pressure from all angles. Some of the people involved are reportedly acting nervous, desperate, and visibly uncomfortable with the truths being exposed. In this breakdown, we'll explore who fans believe is trying to silence this documentary, why they're panicking so intensely, and how far they might go to erase it. But first, you need to understand why the frenzy exists. 50's documentary, which focuses on Diddy, exploded to 21.8 million views in just 6 days, a number that is nothing short of extraordinary. It even outpaced Netflix's Stranger Things. This isn't a gossip clip or a quick highlight reel. The project includes never-before-seen footage, private conversations, and insiders finally speaking out after years of silence. It's no wonder that certain circles are feeling the heat. And 50 is not holding back. He's calling people out on Instagram with zero chill and zero apologies. And if you think this is the climax, you're mistaken. This story is only intensifying. Let's slow it down and paint the full picture. 50 spent 2 entire years constructing this documentary. 2 years dedicated to digging, gathering footage, and connecting all the dots. The film even captures moments just before Diddy's legal troubles became public, including tense interactions with lawyers and longtime associates linked to Bad Boy Records. Finally, allegations, stories, and uncomfortable truths are being aired for all to see. That's exactly why so many people are unsettled. The documentary is unflinching. It explores everything that's been whispered for years, from party culture to long-standing allegations, and even controversial claims about what really happened to Tupac Shakur and the Notorious B.I. This is heavy material, and now that millions of viewers have access, certain famous figures are clearly spiraling. Fans online report that some celebrities are allegedly scrambling behind the scenes, doing everything possible to distance themselves from anything associated with Diddy. Some reports even suggest that a few are leaning on influential connections to quiet the noise. But 50 Cent isn't backing down. He's sharing screenshots, responding directly, and making it very clear that intimidation isn't an option for anyone trying to pressure him. So, let's examine who's attempting to slow him down and why. The loudest incident came when Diddy's son, Christian Combs, went public online, claiming that if he ever encountered 50, the situation would turn physical. On top of that, Cent released the documentary, and when Maron was asked about it on 92.3 in Los Angeles, he admitted he was completely taken aback, saying he was Diddy'd out. Essentially, he was implying, this man is already paying the price, and he cautioned that 50 Cent needs to be careful because karma is coming for him.
50 Cent put out this Diddy doc, and Marlon was asked about this Diddy doc on, 92.3, okay, in LA, and they asked him, did he watch it? And he said he was Diddy'd out. Pretty much saying, yo, that man is already doing time, and he said 50 Cent got to be careful because, he gonna get his karma. Something to that effect. What you got to say about that?
F you, the boat you ride on, anybody look like you got your last name, and roll on that boat with you. You feel me?
Correct.
I'm picking a side, bro. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
I'm picking a side. I'm not giving no dude, you understand, that I'm against a chance to ever do anything against me again. I'm not giving him, he don't got no side, bro. Anybody on his side is against me.
Understood.
And I'm going on that premises for the rest of my life. If you like a that I hate, then I hate you.
Fans were completely stunned. A younger artist genuinely believed that throwing online threats was the right play against someone like 50. But 50's reaction? Cold, precise, and unapologetically confident. He didn't panic, didn't get defensive, he simply told him to cool it and watch what he said. Straightforward and unshakable, the kind of calm that commands respect. People online were quick to dissect the situation. Many pointed out that Christian hasn't exactly built a reputation for handling confrontations well. Fans dug up past incidents with Ray J, highlighting how those encounters never went in Christian's favor. But Christian wasn't done yet. He didn't limit himself to social media. He released not just one, but multiple diss tracks aimed squarely at 50. One particular line caught everyone's attention, mocking 50's connection to Diddy, and listeners were left shaking their heads at how disconnected it felt. Meanwhile, 50 is dominating with a chart-topping documentary on Netflix, raking in millions of views, while Christian's music barely made a blip. Fans couldn't ignore the next level of audacity. Christian even tried weaving his music into his family legacy, dropping references to his mother, hoping it would create weight. It didn't. Not even close. The documentary itself paints a revealing picture. Diddy struggled creatively behind the scenes, relying heavily on writers and collaborators to bring ideas to life. That contrast is glaring and public, and it's exactly why tensions are so high right now. Online audiences are not holding back. Fans are openly accusing this family of living a life fueled by privilege. No rent, no real bills, no 9 to 5 grind, no waiting for a paycheck. Many believe these kids grew up insulated from reality, observing their father maneuver through life and assuming the same attitude would always work for them. But that mindset is finally hitting its limits, and the internet isn't forgiving. And here's the kicker: every fiery post, every new diss track, every clapback on Instagram isn't helping. It's only adding fuel to the fire, making the situation escalate faster than ever. From the public's point of view, they're only digging themselves deeper into the spotlight instead of stepping away. Every move they make seems to pull more attention rather than deflect it. Meanwhile, 50 Cent shows no signs of panic. Fans see it clearly. He's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers, and the pressure is mounting on them, whether they fully realize it or not. Then there's Jesse Combs and Delilah Combs. The online reaction to them has been savage. The twins stepped up, urging people to rise above the drama and ignore all the chaos. But their message didn't land. It landed poorly. Many viewers felt that their advice came off as completely tone-deaf, given everything that has been publicly unfolding. People quickly pushed back, questioning how they could call for silence while simultaneously standing in support of Diddy in public. The backlash was so intense that the twins ultimately had to disable comments on their pages. That action alone speaks volumes about just how fierce the public response was. People weren't buying their message, and they weren't willing to stay quiet either.
Jennifer Lopez had to do was marry a white boy, Oscar winner for people to stop remembering that she had a gun in her pocketbook. She had gunshot residue on her hands the night that Natanya was shot at that club. For all we know, that bullet came from the gun that was in her hand. And not once has she spoken up for the betterment of that woman. Not once has she donated to her family or for her medical bills that she's still paying, or say something in her defense to stop Puffy from gaslighting her and trying to put hits out on her because he was afraid that maybe one day they would open the case and she still has the bullet fragments in her face. Like J-Lo has said, nothing. And you really thought that just running off and marrying Ben Affleck was going to take you out of the Diddy downfall? But it saved her the first time, though, didn't it? Because as soon as that club was over and as soon as they finished interrogating her, when she sat there and cried like a baby, I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to go to jail. Benny Medina put her with that drunk white boy until she ran him off. Like, there are people sitting here screaming out at the toll that the atrocities that Sean Combs has done to their lives, and you're trying to avoid your part in the story or the fact that you never spoke up. You know, you want to tell people on the low and put it out there that the movie was enough, was about you getting away from Puffy, but you didn't think about the trail of girls that you left behind. What happens to Cassie if J-Lo had said something to Diddler back then? Would Cassie have ever been a victim? Answer me that. Because that situation happened in the late 90s. That situation happened before Aaliyah passed away, and Aaliyah passed away in 2001. He didn't get with Cassie until 2009, 15 years after he was with Jennifer. And she had to come forward about the abuse that she suffered in a relationship with Sean Combs. Cassie would never have gone through what she's gone through. J-Lo being a stand bitch is Cassie not getting punted in a fucking hallway.
Or one name that keeps standing out is Chance Combs. She's the one many viewers feel handled the situation with genuine restraint. She didn't rush online, didn't escalate tensions, and didn't attempt to lecture anyone. Even when she voiced support for her father, it was measured, calm, and deliberate. That sense of maturity really made her stand out. Meanwhile, the twins are still appearing at celebrity events and influencer parties as if nothing has happened. Fans see that contrast clearly, and it's fueling a lot of the frustration. To many observers, it looks like image comes first, accountability comes second, or sometimes not at all. Then came a moment that truly surprised people. Marlon Wayans went on the radio and openly defended Diddy. Appearing on Big Boy's Neighborhood in L.A., he criticized 50, calling the documentary unnecessary and poorly timed. Listeners were stunned. The question immediately circulated online: why would he even step into this? Right now, publicly defending Diddy isn't resonating well with the audience at all. The discussion took yet another twist. Marlon Wayans began talking about karma, warning that 50 Cent should be cautious because what goes around comes around. He suggested that Diddy just needs quiet time for spiritual reflection instead of facing public criticism. That left a lot of people pausing and thinking, wait, what? Fans were instantly confused and questioning the move. No one asked Marlon to launch a defense. No one called for a public advocacy tour. So naturally, people began asking the obvious question: why is he so invested? Why go out of his way to protect someone unless he feels personally connected to the fallout? That curiosity spread like wildfire online, stirring conversation and speculation about what exactly is going on behind the scenes.
That beard that Diddy wears.
All right, that's enough.
I know.
That's enough.
I seen him. He shows me behind the curtain.
That's enough. All right, I'm gonna edit. I'm gonna edit this out.
But still,
Put a fucking
put a note on it. You can edit that one.
He didn't let it slide for even a second. The moment it surfaced, he went straight to Instagram and shared a throwback image of Marlon in costume from White Chicks. The caption dripped with sarcasm, essentially telling Marlon he had no business coming at him. There was no fear, no hesitation, just humor with sharp, cutting edges. 50 made it crystal clear that, in his eyes, Marlon and Diddy were cut from the same cloth, sharing a similar mindset. As people started connecting the dots with everything that had already come out, some fans began to wonder if 50 might actually have a point. But Marlon wasn't finished. He fired back again, doubling down on his karma warning and suggesting that if 50's luck ever turned, he would regret dragging all of this into the public eye. That message alone left people shaking their heads, stunned by the escalating back and forth.
Some dudes belong in jail based on what they do and how they do it. We know that to be true. And it's just this situation, man, when they get down to all the facts and all what happened, he may belong in jail, bruh. And that's not my doing. That's not Cassie doing. That's his doing and his learned behavior from the people that mentored him. You got to realize, man, he learned from Andre Harrell. He learned from Russell Simmons. He learned from Clyde Davis. You understand? When those people are telling you that they were heavy into the drug, they was heavy into beating women and doing things at that age, at that crazy stage, that's going to make him think that he can get away with the same thing that they was getting away with back then. You understand? The things that he was saying, you know, the touchy-feely between two men and all that stuff like that, man. He learned that from them dudes. When I told y'all the story, when me and my man went up to Russell Simmons and he had a house and he had a man in bikini drawers in his bedroom, in his bed. You understand? Bruh, this is that he learned. I'm assuming he learned it from them. Let me put that. And I'm not going to say alleged because I saw that for my own self. My man was with me, Slick was with me, and we saw that for our own self. You understand what I'm saying? So these are behaviors and things that with drugs and all the stuff that's going on, pills, drinking, it can make this man into a monster. And that's what it did, bro. It made him into a monster, bro. What's happening to him now is one of the greatest tragedies that we're going to ever read about, bro. This is going to be one of the greatest tragedies that Shakespeare couldn't write in Richard. He couldn't write it in Macbeth. He couldn't write this in Romeo and Juliet. This is going to be one of the greatest tragedies of hip-hop, along with Pac's death, along with Big's death. And he brought it on himself.
Then Marlon escalated the drama on Instagram. He didn't hold back at all, mocking 50 Cent's fashion choices, making jokes about his suits, his style, and the way he carried himself. He even dug up an old photo of 50 and Diddy together at a pool, posting it as if it were supposed to prove a point or highlight some kind of connection. But instead of landing the way he intended, the post only raised more eyebrows, sparking even more speculation and chatter online. It was clear that this wasn't going to fade quietly. Almost immediately, one question dominated social media. Why is Marlon this defensive? Why does this situation seem to bother him so deeply? Even Charlemagne the God jumped in, pointing out what many viewers had already noticed, a glaring double standard. He reminded everyone that when outlets like TMZ, Hulu, and Peacock released projects about Diddy, no one ever brought up timing, karma, or fairness. But now, because it's 50 Cent, a black producer, speaking up, people are suddenly calling him wrong. That shift in energy didn't sit right with a lot of viewers. It felt selective, biased, and people noticed. Then things got even stranger. Over 4 full episodes chronicling Diddy's life, career, influence, and controversies, one glaring absence stood out: Jay-Z. There were no mentions, no photographs, no throwbacks, not even a brief clip at an event. Jay-Z was completely missing. That silence did not go unnoticed. For anyone with even a passing familiarity with hip-hop history, this absence is shocking. Jay-Z and Diddy were once side by side at the top of the industry, appearing in the same rooms, attending the same parties, moving through the same business circles. There are countless photos documenting their history together at award shows, private events, and industry gatherings. Yet here, he was entirely erased. People on TikTok caught it instantly. One creator summed it up perfectly, saying they finished the entire documentary and didn't see Jay-Z even once. No photos, no clips, no name mentions, nothing. That immediately sparked a new question spreading rapidly online. What kind of behind-the-scenes agreement did 50 Cent strike with Beyoncé and Jay-Z? That question didn't appear out of thin air. Just months prior, online discussions were already connecting Jay-Z and Diddy in past industry dealings. Now, suddenly, Jay-Z had vanished entirely from the narrative. Fans started theorizing that maybe 50 had struck some kind of private arrangement. Perhaps Jay-Z agreed to offer quiet support, and in return, his name would be kept far from the documentary. Because let's face it, you can't fully tell Diddy's rise to fame without mentioning Jay-Z. The omission simply doesn't make sense. Jaguar Wright also noticed the absence. She openly questioned why both Jay-Z and Stevie J were missing, suggesting that some figures weren't just staying quiet, they were deliberately removed. She has long maintained that certain powerful names have been completely erased from the story, and that raised even more eyebrows. How does someone simply vanish from documented history? What level of influence does that take? The public may never know for sure, but the calculated nature of it is hard to ignore. Shifting focus, another silence is standing out just as loudly: Jennifer Lopez. Years ago, a widely reported nightclub incident involving Diddy left Nata Rubin seriously injured, an event that changed her life forever. And yet, Jennifer Lopez has remained completely quiet ever since. No statements, no acknowledgement, no visible effort to respond publicly. Fans see that silence as profoundly meaningful. Instead of speaking out, she moved on publicly, eventually marrying Ben Affleck, while that past chapter quietly faded from headlines. Many believe that if influential figures had spoken up sooner about Diddy's behavior, later situations could have been very different. The idea that silence leaves consequences resonates repeatedly. It doesn't simply disappear, it lingers. That's why the conversation surrounding this keeps getting louder every day. Many people online argue that if Jennifer Lopez had spoken honestly at the time about her personal experiences, it could have changed the trajectory, potentially preventing years of emotional harm for other women. Instead, she stayed silent, reshaped her public image, moved on with her life, and acted as if that entire chapter had never happened. To viewers, that silence feels calculated, icy, and impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, Diddy's legal team reportedly moved into full response mode the moment the documentary hit Netflix. Statements went out calling the project unfair and misleading, accusing it of using footage that wasn't meant for public release. They also suggested that rules had been broken and hinted at serious legal action, involving major sums of money. But here's where the story takes an even wilder turn. According to reports, that footage didn't come from some random source. It allegedly came from a videographer Diddy himself had hired. Yes, that's right. He reportedly had someone documenting nearly every move he made in the days leading up to his legal troubles, believing he could control the narrative and potentially clear his name. But instead, that very footage ended up in 50 Cent's hands, and millions of people have now seen it. The irony is almost surreal. What was meant to protect his image ended up doing the exact opposite. Viewers also noticed that the footage captured Diddy stressing not over accountability, but over optics, headlines, and public perception. That alone painted a clear picture: someone more concerned with reputation than responsibility. This is exactly why the footage hit so hard. Adding to the discomfort, an old clip of Ellen DeGeneres and Diddy resurfaced. At the time, it seemed like awkward humor, but in the context of the documentary, the jokes now land very differently. The tone feels off, and viewers are revisiting it with fresh eyes. Since the release, Ellen has stayed exceptionally quiet, prompting even more questions. People aren't making claims, they're observing patterns, noticing silence, and wondering why so many influential voices have little to say. Kevin Hart's reaction has also drawn attention. Old clips of him attending Diddy-hosted events resurfaced, with 50 reposting them, suggesting Kevin looked nervous about what the documentary might reveal. In one striking moment, Mark Wahlberg made a joke involving Diddy, and Kevin's entire energy visibly shifted. You can literally see the discomfort hit his face. He looks around, asks questions, and even suggests certain parts shouldn't air. People online immediately asked, if there's nothing to worry about, why the panic? The pattern continues elsewhere. Russell Simmons has been posting cryptic messages from Bali about people attempting to tear down cultural icons. The subtext didn't go unnoticed. Many believe these posts are directed at this documentary and the fallout surrounding it. The fact that Simmons is overseas, in a location where returning to the U.S. through legal channels isn't straightforward, adds to speculation. Gone Deal even remarked that Diddy learned much of his behavior by observing older industry power players operate for years without consequences. Accountability, Gone insists, has been avoided for far too long. Multiple women have publicly accused Russell Simmons of misconduct over the years, and those allegations shaped public perception of his legacy. One particularly sensitive case involved a significant age gap with a minor, which makes online discussion serious and important. There was even a planned project highlighting these women's stories. Oprah Winfrey initially pulled back due to pressure, showcasing just how influential Simmons once was. Nevertheless, the documentary eventually released, and viewers can still watch it today. Soon after these allegations surfaced, Simmons relocated overseas, a move that many see as strategic rather than coincidental. There was even a project in development that focused entirely on the stories of these women, shining a light on their experiences and the larger patterns of behavior in the industry. At one point, Oprah Winfrey was attached to produce it, but she stepped back after facing significant pressure, a move that highlighted just how powerful Russell Simmons once was in shaping what could be told and what remained hidden. Despite that early hesitation, the documentary eventually made it to the public, and viewers today can still watch it and see the accounts laid bare. Not long after the allegations surrounding Russell gained mainstream attention, he relocated overseas and has remained there ever since. To many watching all of this unfold now, that move doesn't feel coincidental. It looks intentional, strategic, and calculated. The timing of his relocation, the distance he maintains, and the silence surrounding him all seem orchestrated. And with this documentary bringing old conversations back into the spotlight, every pause, every absence, and every reaction is louder than words. One of Diddy's most vocal defenders throughout this saga has been Stevie J, and his involvement has raised eyebrows more than once. During one of the high-profile searches connected to Diddy, Stevie J was reportedly present inside Diddy's Miami property. Afterward, he emerged publicly, insisting that all accusations against Diddy were completely false and claiming that Diddy had never crossed any legal lines. That statement alone sparked massive backlash online. But Stevie didn't stop there. He turned his attention directly toward 50 Cent, accusing him of betraying his own community by creating the documentary. His language was incendiary, painting 50 as a villain doing harm instead of good. The situation escalated even further when Stevie publicly challenged 50 to confront him directly, calling him out by name, which left the public stunned. 50 Cent's response was classic. He jumped onto Instagram and turned it into a moment of comedy. He joked that Stevie wasn't calling him a sellout for the reasons people might think. He claimed Stevie was just selling out his own liquor brand instead. That post went viral almost instantly, with fans laughing at how effortlessly 50 flipped a serious confrontation into pure entertainment. The drama intensified when Stevie J's name appeared in a legal filing connected to Rodney "Lil Rod" Jones. 50 reposted a screenshot of a headline, adding a sarcastic caption and acting both surprised and amused. Stevie fired back, stating, "If this is all entertainment, it should be handled publicly." 50, in typical fashion, brushed it off, joking that Stevie wouldn't even make it past security. By this point, the entire exchange had begun to feel more like spectacle than substance, a public theater of escalating egos. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, Floyd Mayweather inserted himself into the conversation. Without prompt, he spoke about Diddy in an interview, claiming he didn't want to criticize him while framing the situation as ordinary human mistakes. What stunned viewers, however, was a hypothetical comment Floyd made involving his own family, which many felt was both inappropriate and poorly thought out. Social media erupted in reaction. 50 Cent didn't waste a second. He clapped back immediately, pointing out that nobody had even asked Floyd about Diddy in the first place. He then moved straight into full troll mode, poking fun at Floyd's long-running jokes about reading and even publicly offering a large charitable donation if Floyd could read an entire page from a children's book. It was petty, loud, and precisely what fans expect from 50. Meanwhile, Ray J has been giving interviews that left many viewers perplexed. He repeatedly referred to Diddy as a mentor and close friend and insisted that nothing inappropriate ever happened. Ray J claimed he didn't even understand the rumors circulating and that he had never witnessed anything questionable at these events. Yet that defense hasn't swayed many people. Online reactions suggest the audience is growing tired of vague explanations and blanket loyalty without specifics. At this stage, a pattern is unmistakable. Every time someone rushes to defend Diddy without addressing the details, public skepticism grows louder. The documentary didn't just reopen old discussions. It revealed who is willing to speak, who is rushing to protect, and who suddenly finds themselves over-explaining. And as each reaction piles up, the spotlight on everyone involved only intensifies. At one point, Ray J appeared completely lost, asking, "Is this even real?" and then awkwardly joking about baby oil, seemingly attempting to laugh it off. People watching were confused, uncomfortable, and frankly, in disbelief. Ray even questioned whether it was appropriate for everyone to be joking about the situation, asking what kind of message that sends. The moment felt awkward, unnecessary, and a bit embarrassing. 50 summed it up perfectly with his online post, What is Ray J even doing right now? Essentially implying, this dude looks unhinged and all over the place. Ray J somehow made it even stranger, rambling about turning the other cheek and twisting it into jokes that didn't land at all. Fans were shaking their heads. 50 clapped back again, saying he now understood why people had been trying to calm Ray down behind the scenes, and even joked that he might personally hit Ray up to tell him to relax because his approach wasn't helping anyone. The entire exchange felt chaotic, confusing, and undeniably embarrassing. Ray J's aggressive defense of Diddy had now put his motives under scrutiny, as going that hard without addressing the specifics naturally raises questions. And Ray isn't the only one under watch. Rick Ross has remained completely silent throughout this saga, much like Jay-Z. But 50 wasn't letting that slide. He reposted old lyrics from a 2013 Rick Ross track that had previously sparked major controversy, pairing it with a photo of Ross and Diddy together. His caption reminded everyone that, at some point, doing the right thing matters. That lyric had caused Ross to lose a major brand deal in the past, so 50 wasn't revealing anything new. He was simply reminding the public of history. Now, with Ross staying silent while the chaos unfolded around him, that quietness spoke louder than words ever could. Let's take a step back and look at the pattern. It's impossible to ignore. Christian Combs publicly threatened 50 Cent. The Combs twins urged people to rise above the drama. Marlon Wayans went on a full defense tour. Jay-Z was entirely absent from the documentary. Jennifer Lopez stayed silent about past events. Diddy's legal team tried to pressure Netflix. Ellen DeGeneres remained quiet. Kevin Hart looked visibly uneasy. Russell Simmons stayed overseas. Stevie J issued public challenges. Floyd Mayweather spoke when nobody asked. Ray J gave baffling interviews, and Rick Ross remained silent. The pattern is crystal clear. Anyone defending Diddy or choosing silence is immediately thrust into the spotlight by 50 Cent, and that pressure isn't slowing down, it's multiplying. Now, the question is for you. Who do you think is the most desperate to shut this documentary down? Did Jay-Z make a deal to stay out of it? Why is Marlon Wayans so aggressively defensive? And what do you predict will happen next for 50 Cent after all this mounting pressure? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. If you've made it this far, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with Scarfame because this story is far from over.